So, Tom says, at this point, I'm sold. Something read my mind and showed up 90 minutes later, and I recorded a pretty wild video. I want to see that video, Tom. I want to see that video, what you caught. If you don't mind. Josh, you're big into summoning. You try it all the time. You know, this is not new to you. I've summoned before. It's not new to me. Lee, I believe you've summoned in craft before. Let's talk about this because a lot of people don't believe this is possible, yet there seems to be something to it, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I totally believe that if you think about Bob Lazar's encounter with the sports model, right? He talked about on the inside of the craft that there were no control panels. There looked to be seats for entities, but there were no controls for them to use to navigate the craft. So one of the things that implies is that they fly the craft potentially with consciousness, use of consciousness. Then you fast forward, to 2 years ago when the psionics folks hit the scene. And they're talking about using, effectively meditation, deep meditation to connect with craft and navigate them to a location so that they could be retrieved and recovered. It's in all possibilities then that the way that UFOs are primarily interacted with is via consciousness. So yes, I think putting yourself into a state of conscious openness to the possibilities is all that is needed to then ask for something and wait to receive it. I think there's a couple of important things with what Tom King said here. Number one, he was specific in his ask. He said, I want to see a red one. He didn't just say, show up, show me a sign, whatever. He was specific in his ask, number one. Number two, he waited. It took 90 minutes for it to show up, but he waited. So many of us these days are impatient. If it doesn't show up in the first 30 seconds, we're going to assume it didn't work and we're going to move on and do something else. He waited. True. So, yes, I think that summoning does work. I think you have to be open to the possibility. You have to be specific in your ask, and then you have to wait patiently and just be alert and aware and looking for what you asked for. And it may be 90 minutes. And it may be the next day.
I would agree with you on that. It is a level of patience that you need in order to try and communicate. And you got to control the frustration. Lee, you've sat out in the forest on the mountains of Mount Baker, Mount Adams, and every mountain in between looking for UFOs. You found a couple of hot spots in there. And what do you do in order to take a look at these craft? What do you do that you feel that you're summoning them in?
Well, it's funny. It's because I'll set up my equipment, facing one direction. I'll get to a location and it's like, okay, I'm going to put my cameras up facing this way. And that's because that's where I feel the craft are going to be coming from, right? And of course, it's not every time, it's not every night that they'll show up, but it's a preponderance. The majority of the time they'll be there. And so it seems like they show up for the cameras for me. And it's not like I have to go into a deep meditation. I just see myself in a location from above, right? In my mind, I see myself in this location from above. And then, I just say, hey guys, you want to come around? Just like we're talking to Bigfoot in the forest. Hey, do you want to, hey guys, and they'll show up or they won't. And during the time that they're there, I can ask them things like, okay, Do you guys want to go ahead and give me a big flash, or do you want to change colors for me, or you want to do certain things? Or in one instance, where are you from? And they went to a spot in the sky, and behind that is, I think it was Vega, the Star Vega. So they flew over to Star Vega, right over it, and stopped there. So there's certain things that you can ask for and get answers, right? So there is that communication going on back and forth.
When I summoned UFOs back a few years ago, for me, I didn't even know what I was doing. I just had this internal feeling that something was going to show up. And I would literally say to my friends, hey, come on over, stand on my patio. I had one of those electric propane type fireplaces, right? I said, let's have a little fire on my patio, have a beer, and watch the UFOs fly by. And my friends would always laugh at me and say, really? Come on. UFOs flying by? Yeah, come on over. And sure enough, we'd have things flying over my house that were unexplainable. And the beautiful part about where I lived at the time was I knew the flight plan for Vancouver International Airport. I knew what time they were flying, like we had record of it, where they took off to. For instance, if they were heading east, they would always fly to the south of where I lived. If they were going into Vancouver, they always went behind along the mountaintops before coming into Vancouver to land, depending on the jet stream at that time. So there was never anything flying north to south. It was always east to west and west to east. And when all of a sudden we started seeing things coming over that didn't make sense, whether it was because they were large orbs, whether it was because they were silent planes, whether it was black triangles, we always saw something. And it is absolutely amazing that when you do develop that level of contact through consciousness, through a clear heart, clear soul, clear mind, anything can happen. You're pointing at me, Lee, shaking your head.
Well, yeah, I mean, that clear consciousness, the pure heart, that is things that they pick up on, believe it or not. It's amazing. I feel that same way, for sure.
And I'll also add that different people need different levels of ceremony for making contact. It could be that you get together with a group of people and you do a deep guided meditation and you light a candle and you have incense. And that is your level of ceremony, your ritual, if you will, for conscious contact. It could also be that you just step into your backyard and say, can I see you? Mm-hmm. And that's all the ritual that you need in order to make conscious contact. The point is that what works for one may not work for the other. And if it doesn't, if you try to replicate what somebody else experienced through their ritual or ceremony, it may just be that, like a tumbler and a lock, that key works for them, but you need to figure out and find your own key, figure out what makes your tumbler unlock so that you get to have whatever that conscious experience is. But it starts with tuning your antenna to just it being possible. There's a switch that flips in your head when you just accept that it is possible to make conscious contact. And when you flip that switch, that's when the phenomena will see you and make itself known.